Hello everyone and welcome to 0 Day, my first episode of my backpacking show here on the Idle Hands channel. This is going to be about lightweight backpacking mostly, but backpacking in general will still work, and ultralighters can take some tips here, or people who are trying to go ultralight or lightweight in general. But a 0 day is something that you're going to do on a long distance trip when you're just trying to recoup, do a resupply and recover, and you're pretty much, it's called a 0 day because you're doing 0 miles. Like I said, usually consists of a resupply or something along the way, because you're going to hit up the grocery store, the dollar store, whatever is in that area, so that you can make sure that you have all the food you need. A few things about my personal setup, just so you know, I'm considered a lightweight backpacker. I wouldn't be considered an ultralighter because I'm not quite below 12 pounds or 11 pounds, however you really want to work it. My base weight is 13 pounds, 9 ounces with a cribbage board. And I say that with a cribbage board because if I'm going by myself, I'm not going to bring a cribbage board unless I'm going on a very popular trail, in which case I will possibly go with a cribbage board because I'll come across people that know how to play cribbage. I spent many days on the trail well above 50 pounds. And I have to say I'm 1,000 times happier at the end of the day when in 13 pounds 9 ounces than I was with 60 plus. So I think that's my biggest accomplishment there. When I first started backpacking, I was working on a through hike of the Appalachian Trail. I had very little experience, and I was over prepared and under experienced. And when I unfortunately had to get off the trail when I encountered a stomach issue that just wouldn't quit, so I couldn't finish, but I did do 625 miles in that one time, and I've done weekends, overnights, weeks, extended day hikes, and things of that nature since then. So, when I weighed in at Amicalola Falls in Georgia, I was at 85 pounds with food and water. I had an 85-liter backpack. It was a very nice backpack, top of the line. It was an Aether 85 in 2010, so it was a very nice backpack, but it was too big. That's one of my first tips that I always tell people is if you're interested in going lightweight, get a smaller pack. I was grossly overweighted, and underexperienced, but due to the surprise of a lot of other hikers, I came meandering into camp every night just before dark. For the first 30 miles, I started northbound with the spring bubble in 2010 and dubbed Hercules because I showed up and everybody thought I was going to quit. So just kind of kept going. After my gear shakedown at Mountain Crossing in Neal's Gap, I shed 30 pounds of gear and unneeded things. And if you're doing a through hike of the Appalachian Trail, or even just a section, Neal's Gap is really cool. It's the only building that you're going to come across on the Appalachian Trail that you actually walk under. Half of that building is going to be a hostel, and the other half is going to be a gear store, an outfitter, and all of the people that work there have done multiple through hikes or have done a through hike in section every year. And they go through everything in your pack and they'll say, why are you carrying this? What are you carrying this for? Don't need this. This is good. This is good. This is good. And I ended up sending 30 pounds of gear home, as well as throwing all of my rice, regular rice, and oatmeal, just regular oats, into the hiker boxes, and I hope nobody picked it up. I really don't. But they have a lot of knowledge on the Appalachian Trail, and they really helped me shed a lot of weight that time, so I was down to 40 pounds after that. do, do, do. So I learned a lot from there, and then I have learned a lot since, and I've learned a lot from work too. I do work in the outdoor recreation industry, and while I would never lead a customer to get something they don't want or talk someone out of their choice, I'd be remiss not to give them the knowledge I have about the products and help them make the choices that are best for them. And I will fit you properly for a pack. I will make sure that you have the right pack for whatever it is, but I'm going to give you other options so that you're not just being like, well, I want the Bull Toro because it's the biggest one and it's going to carry the most weight, when most people don't need to carry that much weight, and when they do carry that much weight, they end up never wanting to go backpacking again. Alright, so we got today's top trail tips. These top trail trips today are all about eating on the trail. These are 5 tips to make your life more enjoyable, whether it's through hike on one of the big 3 or a weekend in the woods down the road. These little tips will make your trail meals a bit more tasty, easy, and a bit cheaper than prepackaged freeze-dried meals like your mountain houses or whatnot. So in no particular order, here we go. Condiment packets. I cannot tell you how many hot dogs I yogied because I had ketchup packets. But that isn't all that's out there. Mayo, mustard, relish packet with a packet of tuna on a tortilla make a great lunch. So I always carry these for lunch. If you can find the Goldens, you are gold. Miracle Whip, if you can find it. Otherwise, Hellman's is another one that you can easily find. Other mayo packets is fine. And then relish. Target is probably your #1 place to get these. Anywhere that has like a hot dog stand, you can grab a bunch of these. As you can see, I collect condiment packets like nobody's business. If it's comes in a packet and it's a sauce I enjoy, there's a strong possibility that I have it. And one of my all-time favorites to find, and never easy to find, the coveted Cholula. It's one of my favorite packets. It's a great hot sauce. It's very flavorful. It doesn't add a lot of spice, but it does make things a little less bland. And then putting a mayo, mustard, and relish packet onto a packet of tuna, or even a chicken packet, throwing all of that on top of a tortilla, and you have a chicken or tuna salad sandwich. I have thrown a couple other things onto the chicken salad. Craisins, if you can find them, are a really nice addition, as well as shaved almonds. Things to make it a little bit more jazzy so that you're not just eating the same thing over and over again. Another thing that you can find out there, and this one's really helpful, it is tomato paste concentrate that comes in a tube. I got this at Walmart. One of my favorite recipes is mashed potato pizza. It is instant mashed potatoes with a bunch of pizza spices and Romano and Parmesan cheese in the bag. The instant mashed potatoes, if you can find the loaded or the 4 cheese, are really good for it. You just follow the instructions as far as that's concerned, as far as making enough water for the instructions there. Put that in there, let it steep for the minute, put this in it, and then throw some pepperoni in there, and you have mashed potato pizza. Now, you heard me say pepperoni, which leads me to tip number 2, which would be shelf-stable meats. There are a lot of meats out there that are able to last after they have been open for a few days, pepperoni being one of them, or even a week because they have been cured. Small summer sausage is a great way to add a bit of protein to macaroni and cheese or your ramen noodles, if those are what you want to do. Things that are going to be mostly tubular for the most part, but those have all been cured to the point of where they do not need to be refrigerated much after they've been opened. If you're looking for something that's a little bit less salty or preservative full, which would leave us to tip number 3, bulk freeze-dried meat. Well, this happens to be from Alpine Air. They don't make the cheapest ones, and this one is going to be a 32 servings per can, 16 ounces. So you get, for every half ounce is a serving. It's a 20-year shelf life as long as you don't keep it open. Otherwise, it's six months. But I'd like to thank the crazy preppers for making it much more available to get many different freeze-dried meats. That one was chicken. That was a pound can. I ended up getting it from Big Lots. They sent me a coupon via PayPal, and then there was a coupon for 15% off that I got. So I ended up getting it for like $30 instead of the $50. But you can also get 1.5 pound cans of all sorts of different meats from a website that specializes in prepping for the apocalypse, or doomsday type people where they can buy a whole bunch of stuff. You can find chicken, beef, sausage, turkey, ham, all available in 1 pound cans, and you can get a better deal than what you can for the Alpine Air. So you'd be looking at $50 for a 1.5 pound can for the cheaper of those meats, as opposed to a pound, the same price for the Alpine Air or Mountain House. You can also get large amounts of textured vegetable protein if you are not a carnivore or omnivore. If you're a vegetarian, textured vegetable protein is very easy to come by, and it's a lot cheaper because it's made of vegetables, but it gives you the protein that you're looking for that you definitely need, because you need more than just simple carbohydrates while you're out in the woods. So yeah, textured vegetable protein comes in a bunch of different styles, but for the most part, you're going to get the what you want there. Now, when you cook that, or when you rehydrate that, you're going to be putting it in water. And that water is going to be super hot, and it's going to absorb, and it's going to become very much larger than what it is. And that brings us to our next one, which is called freezer bag cooking. Number 4 is switch to freezer bag cooking. So if you switch to this method of cooking, you pour boiling water into heavy-duty freezer bags. Very similar to the bag that I have here, which is what I put my condiments in. It's a heavy-duty bag. It's a freezer bag. It's going to hold up pretty well. I tend to use quart size just because they're easier to use. Drop the Chula packet. The advantage of this method would be absolutely no cleanup. When you are done eating, because you are literally eating out of the bag as well, you are going to be getting, just closing it up, throwing it into your trash bag. No cleanup. You don't have to worry about cleaning your pot. You don't have to worry about scrubbing anything out. You don't have to worry about food poisoning, because that's the number one reason people get sick in the woods, is because they don't have clean food apparatus. So poor sanitation generally is avoided, because you never have to worry about it again. It's all good to go. A lot of people don't know this, but you do eat out of the prepackaged Mountain House meals and everything like that, which why I like to bring a long-handled spork, because I eat out of my bags. So a long-handled spork gives me the ability to stab any of the meat at the very bottom, gives me the ability to eat out of my bag really easily, and I don't have to stick my hand all the way into the bag when I'm using something small like those crickets or something. The eating multi-tools. Bad water is often blamed for the problems we have with food and foodborne illness, so keep that in mind, and that's one of the reasons why I do this. You don't have to worry about bleaching chemicals or anything like that, because these are all BPA free. They wouldn't be they wouldn't be putting them out there if they weren't. But this way you don't have a dirty pot, you don't have anything else that you have to worry about, and you don't have to worry about anything there. Now, along with freezer bag cooking, you get a koozie. And the koozie here is something that I made. It is a couple little pieces of Velcro that I picked up. This is Reflectix. It is something you can buy in a hardware store. Around me, I had to go to Ace. I couldn't find it at Lowe's or Home Depot, but a little bit of duct tape, Essentially what this is it's 2 space blankets that are the bread of a bubble wrap sandwich. So it's super light, very reflective, like reflects 94% of the heat back in there. So when you are cooking in your freezer bag, you don't lose any of the heat. And another aspect of this is you can put your freezer bag in here at lunch. So after you make your tuna fish sandwich, tuna fish wrap, you can boil some water while you're doing that, eat your wrap, pour your water in here with all your other food, put it in the koozie, then put that in your backpack, and then walk to your dinner destination, get out, and it is still hot, ready to go. And then, because it's been raining all day, and you don't have anything dry or warm to sit on, this now doubles as a sit pad. It's going to give you the insulation that you want on your bum, and it's going to make sure your butt doesn't get wet. Like I said, I made this out of Reflectix, but I know quite a few people who have made them out of car sunscreen that they picked up from the dollar store or something of that nature. But it's super lightweight. It's a few ounces, probably not even. I would say 1.5 ounces maybe. The nice thing about it is it has double duty because I do use it as a sit pad. And when I use it as a sit pad and as a koozie, that means that it has 2 purposes. And when something has 2 purposes, that means that the weight that each purpose has is cut in half. So if it is 1.5 ounces, it is only 0.75 ounces as a koozie and 0.75 ounces as a sit pad. So that way I don't have to bring my Z-Lite foot pad. The 5th and final tip is going to be calories per ounce. Now, everyone, as far as lightweight goes, has an idea of what they put in their pack as far as their weight is concerned. Everybody knows what their tent weighs or their shelter system, their backpack. Every little piece of gear they have weighed. Food is no different. When we are trying to save weight, we need to remember that there are calories per ounce. And then there are very inefficient ways of carrying that weight, or efficient ways of carrying that weight. Having things that give us those calories per ounce, I have to say, definitely wouldn't bring this bottle, but a very small bottle of extra virgin olive oil, make anything a little bit more Italian. You're looking at per ounce. Serving size is 1 teaspoon. Calories per ounce, or 1 teaspoon, is 120. So a teaspoon of this gives you 120 extra calories. When you're burning 5,000 calories a day from hiking, that extra 120, that you put a tablespoon in there, you're like 200 and some odd calories. It's a great way to make sure that you add an extra bunch of calories, because Mountain House, Alpine Air, if you look at those are 2 servings, and if you look at the total calories, you're looking at maybe 700 if you're lucky. And that's just not enough, so you need to add calories. Which brings me to my next part. Another way to add calories. This is another new product that I've recently discovered. It's called Nido. It is dehydrated whole milk. Your serving size is 1 cup prepared. Calories per serving is 160. 160 calories for a tiny little amount. It's a really good way to make anything creamy. So if you want to use, like I personally use Velveeta shells and cheese, just because the cheese packet is so much easier to use than the powdered cheese that you get with Kraft. If you want to make Kraft macaroni and cheese, because you can get an entire box of that for $1 or like less than $1, like 68 cents or something like that, using this instead of just water, with the water to make the cheese sauce, makes it so much better and makes it actually taste like you're eating it at home, as opposed to the chalky cheese that's just made with water. You don't get the butter, but you do get the creaminess of the Nido. Another great thing to add this to is a packet of instant pudding and 6 crushed Oreos, and just eat it out of, like, push it all in your freezer bag again, cut the corner off, and just eat it like an Oreo pudding. It is so good, and It's just so nice to add that at the end of the day. And it's no muss, no fuss, because it's so easy to make that, because you're just adding cold water to the pudding mix and the Neato, and then you're adding some crushed Oreos, which you're going to bring something like that anyway. So yeah, keep in mind calories per ounce. That's my number 5 tip. So going over those again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, no particular order, like I said before. Condiment packets, they will make your bland meals tasty. You will get, if you bring ketchup and mustard packets, you'll get just randomly. You don't have to carry the hot dogs out. You don't have to carry the buns out. You can use your tortilla if you want to. But the ability to be like, hey, you got hot dogs, I got ketchup. Number 2, shelf-stable meats. Go over the list. Summer sausage, pepperoni, 2 great choices. Possibly bologna if you can find something, but chorizo is another one. Something that's cured really strong. Don't have to worry about it anymore. And then number 3, bulk freeze-dried meats. Bulk freeze-dried meats. Alpine Air got this one super cheap for that, but Honeyville Farms is the one that sells the 1.5 ounce cans for $50. 1.5 pound cans for $50. And if you want to see if it's good or not, they sell it in smaller sizes too, but it's the most bang for your buck you're going to get a 1.5 pound can. So if you're planning a through hike of one of the big 3, you can get 1.5 pounds of freeze-dried meat, which will give you 32 servings. So you may want to go 16 ounces will give you 32 servings, 70 calories per serving. It's not a lot, but the protein is what you're looking for there. Honeyville Farms, and I'll have that written down in my description. Number 4 is switch to freezer bag cooking. No muss, no fuss. You're done and boom, ready to go. And then, of course, your koozie, which doubles as a sit pad. Boop, boop, boop. Super lightweight. Reflectix, relatively inexpensive as well. And if you do go winter camping, a great way, if you get like the roll of Reflectix, to add more insulation to your sleeping pad, so that you don't have to worry about getting a second sleeping pad because you have the extra Reflectix that you made the koozie out of. And then calories per ounce. Calories per ounce, calories per ounce. Remember that. When you are looking at weight of the food, you can see a ramen is super lightweight, but the calories that it carries are minimal. You look at a Snickers bar or something like that. Look at the calories. They taste delicious, and they do give you a little bit of boost, but that's generally a smaller boost. Calories per ounce. Extra virgin olive oil, if you can get it in a tiny little bottle, so the tiniest bottle that you can find, plastic bottle preferably, but if you can find it, just get a smaller bottle. I know someone who drank an orange juice, rinsed it out really well, and then poured their bottle of olive oil into that bottle so that they had the ability to use that plastic bottle. So they had olive oil because they could only find it in that particular town in a glass bottle. So yeah, that's what I got for you as far as food. Just as a side note, these tubes come in other things. I've found mustard in tubes like that, so they're super small. Don't have to worry about that. This one I'm super excited to try. I haven't got a chance to it, but you can see I got wasabi. Wasabi is one of my favorites. I like spicy. Sometimes peppers just don't end up working so well, so wasabi is a nice way to add spice. So I got some wasabi there. So yeah, that's what I got for you today. So I hope this makes your backpacking adventure a little bit more flavorful, tasty, more enjoyable, and keep your feet on the trail. And just remember, idle hands aren't doing anything. So get out there and do something so that you can enjoy your hoppies. Hopefully you enjoy mine.